bake. So it took me a while to set up my kitchen here, so I wanted to, I haven't baked in a while. Actually, I haven't baked in a long time, so I wanted to share a recipe, and I'm not going to go through the process of sharing the recipe, but I will share a little bit, not right now on this live part, but I will tell you a little bit about the persimmon cookies. My parents had a persimmon cookie in the backyard, and every year they would pick it, and so pick the persimmons, and she would freeze the pulp in the freezer until she got ready to make the persimmon cookies for my father. And she had her special recipe. I'm not going to do the recipe that she did because I have butter. I'm going to be using butter in my recipe. So, but she had to do a special recipe for him because of his illnesses that he had. And but everybody loved her persimmon cookies. When she'd go back to visit to Mexico, she would take a batch of persimmon cookies with her, and they would eat them up. They couldn't wait to get her persimmon cookies. And my father loved her persimmon cookies. He would fight over, don't touch those persimmon cookies. Those are mine. So with baking, it's different. It's different than cooking, okay? It's a lot different. I took the culinary class. I think I told you that in a couple of my videos on YouTube. And, someone said something. Oh, I don't have my glasses. Let me get my glasses on real quick, okay? Oh, hi, Nicole. Hi. So, anyways, where was I at? Oh, yeah. Cooking is different than baking. Because baking, you have to be precise in the ingredients. It's a lot different. On cooking, you can throw this, that. Well, you can do it with baking if you've been baking. But when I went to culinary class, everything had to be exactly precise. And in order to pass the culinary program or to get the degree, you had to know math. And the yields and the yields that they challenge you, well, it's part of the culinary program, is that you will be subtracting. You would take recipes and you will increase them for a specific amount of people, and that's yields. And forgot the name of the class, but it was yields. So you had to know some math, and I hadn't done math in a very, very long time, in years. So what I did was I had an automotive math class, which kind of helped. And in that class, there was geometry, statistics, algebra, and a variation of so many of what-ifs. So, and I had to do a lot of tutoring, a lot. So if you're going to do a culinary class, and if you're going to be serious about it, make sure your math skills are on it, because that's one of the challenges that you have, and you need to put your whole mind in that area of culinary. And I'm sure there's a lot of programs out there that have the math skills, but if you're going to operate a small restaurant or a cafe, you're going to need your yields, and you're going to need to know all of your, you don't want to do a lot of food waste, and I think that's really important. And I'm sure the larger industries, they have like a math program, already in their food production and their big, like these big industries like the airplane. I was watching a clip on I think it was PBS or YouTube, I don't know, but the billions of pounds of food that we use on the airplanes and on ships and all that, and it's like you have to know your stuff. So anyways, so the culinary program, make sure you get into a really good one that, and if you're really wanting to go large and and be in a big industry, then I would definitely brush up on your math skills, because you're going to need them. So anyways, I actually love math, so I think that was a little bit of grace that got me through. But it was hard because I had totally forgot about math. So I might have to even take another math class so I can keep baking, right? Anyways, so going back from my experiences in high school, well, I was going to... When I went to the culinary class, I felt like I was in high school. That's what I meant to say. So it was hard. It was really hard. It was like going back to high school, because there was just no, either you knew it or you didn't, or get out. So don't give up on yourself. Just keep on trying to, just keep going to school and get that degree in culinary, because it'll be good for you, especially if you like cooking. I'm going to be using all these ingredients. I'm even going to be using comptoir. Yeah, so that ought to be really good. I have my raisins that have been actually soaking in comptoir for about a month now. And they won't turn bad because it's alcohol, so alcohol is a preservative. So I'm going to be using that, and all these ingredients that I have. They're going to be oatmeal, persimmon cookies, yeah, with some butter, and yeah, I'm going to be, and there's some alternatives here that I'll go over that when you do, if you want to make them. So if you can get a hold of some persimmon pulps. Now this one right here was given to me by a friend, and thanks, Craig. Thanks for my persimmon, and I'm hoping that they'll come out. I'll do the persimmons justice. He has a beautiful, place where he has this beautiful persimmon tree that looked like a goddess tree. It was so beautiful, and I took pictures, and I saved the pulp, of course, and then now I'm going to make the cookies. So fun. So, like I said before, I used to watch my mother make these persimmon cookies. I never really quite made them. I think I only made them one time. But that was her thing. She just loved, I swear, I think the persimmon cookies, persimmons are the, that were in the, I think they were in the Garden of Eden. I swear they were in the Garden of Eden. I don't know if it was the apple. I think it was the persimmon. So anyways, I want to share a little bit about the persimmons, and I wrote some notes because I did a study on some persimmons and how many persimmons were actually out there. I have my notes, so I'm going to share my notes. And so there's some persimmon cookies that you can buy for cooking, and you can buy them just to eat, like apples, and I like both of them. The cooking ones, they have like this little residue when you bite into them, even if they're ripe. They have like this little residue they leave a little residue in your mouth. And I don't know what that is exactly, but I know that the persimmon cookies, cookies, the persimmons, the fuyu persimmons, you can eat them like an apple. I love them. You can eat them hard or soft. And I found out that there are some called sweet pumpkin. There are some that are called chocolate persimmon, and there is a tenanashi. It's like a hachia. I hope I said that correctly. And that's what these are. I believe these are the hachia. I might be wrong. So and then there's the amagaki, which is supposedly the best, and then the Tananashi persimmon ones are grown in Florida. And then there's a Sharon fruit, like a fuyu. And what I found out, that they're high in fiber, and they're high in vitamin A and C's, and they have plenty of oxidants on them. And they have a mineral B complex in them. So that's what I found out. The hachia the hachia, which is a Japanese, it's mushy and it's glutinous, and that's what I found. They're mushy and gushy, and a lot of people like them. They like to eat them like that. They look like acorns, and they're native to North America. So, with that all said, I researched some recipes. I didn't really I'm not doing my mom's recipes, but I am doing a recipe that I found, actually a couple recipes, and I kind of tweaked it, which is what we do, and I tweaked it to make sure that it was going to come out. Thinking back on my baking experience, and which was not, I've had some baking experience, but most of it, I'm going to be honest, was boxed. Boxed cakes and dressing them up. And then I did my own crust, and I learned to do cobblers and pies, and I have a little bit of baking experience in high school, but then when I did my culinary degree, I was able to focus on my baking class, and I went to the advanced baking class, and I obtained a certificate, and which is really nice. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that class with the chef that I was baking in, and she was awesome, and I had fun. Actually, there was 2 baking instructors, and I learned from both, because it was one had a certain method and a technique, and the other one had the other instructor had a different method and technique. And so I wish I could go to a lot more baking classes. So because I think it's just like it depends on how you want your pastries come out. So one of them reminded me, one instructor, her pastries reminded me of my childhood experiences when I used to go to this donut shop named Dainty Pastry in Roseville, California, and it's no longer there. They were in business for 50 years, and that was my childhood, and I didn't think there was ever going to be another bakery until I went to till I went to my culinary class, and I was able to find out that there is, yay! And the other one was more like, the other instructor, hers was more of the CIA, not the CIA, the FBI, Culinary Institute of America. I wish I could go to the one in New York. Oh my God, that would be an experience, right? I would love to go. Anyway, so, okay. So I have, what I did was I made some changes, and I have 4 cups of flour, and I use this kind of flour, Red Mills, and it's all-purpose flour. So I kind of mixed it. I used a little bit of wheat flour, which is unbleached. They're both unbleached. I like getting an unbleached flour. And then I have some sugar, and I found this sugar, and oops, that's the wrong one. It's called cane sugar, organic muscovado, and it has hints of vanilla and caramel notes. So it was on sale, so I grabbed it, nabbed it USDA and fair trade certified. If you can find, go to the grocery stores, you can find some bargains in their little bargain bins. I love going to the bargain bins. As soon as I go into the store, I go and I get a bargain bin. I'm going to take this down real quick. Okay. So, okay. And so I have like I'd say about a little, so that's 4 cups of flour. That's about a couple cups of rolled oats. And this is some zest from one orange. Okay. So zest from one orange. And how did I zest it? I have a little zester. They have these other little fancy zesters, but I have a good old-fashioned one, so I use that one. This is good. So I zest it because I wanted to put a little bit of citrusy flavor in my persimmon. And then I have the butter, and I have like about these are a half cup each, and they're room temp, so you see how I diced it and I cut it up a little bit? And so that's going to get it at a little nice room temperature, make it soft. And each one of these sticks is a half of cup. Now usually with baking we weigh the ingredients, but since I already we weigh the ingredients, but I'm not going to weigh them. I'm just going to go by the recipes that I found, because they've probably done all the hard work for me. So, and then, so I have like about a cup and a half of butter. I didn't want to use a lot of butter. I know that's a lot of cups of flour, and I may need to cut some more butter in there, but I'm going to try not to, because I found that there is some fat in our egg. So I put an extra egg. So I have 4 eggs. And so I have 3 cups of pulp, and of course I have the drunken, I'm going to call them drunken raisins, which have been drunk in the refrigerator for quite a while in the control. I was actually eating them, and I was like, oh. So, anyways, you cover them up. You can just kind of fill them to the top, and then just cover it and leave it in overnight. You don't need to leave it in as long as I did, but I put some other ones in there. So, and then I have some spices. This is what I did was I used a pumpkin pie spice, because I figured that the pumpkin pie had the cloves, the ginger, the nutmeg, and the cinnamon. So if you have 3 teaspoons of pumpkin spice, and I have what is that? 3 teaspoons of 2 teaspoons of the cinnamon, because there's some cinnamon already in the pumpkin spice. And then 1 teaspoon of salt, because of course this is unsalted. And I have, how many cups of sugar do I have? 1.5 cups of sugar? I think I should have more than that. 1.5 cups of sugar. This one, 1 cup, and this is 1.5. I think we need to have a little bit more sugar, so I'm going to be adding some more sugar to this. So I want to make sure that I have, I think I did more than 1.5 cups of sugar. So just in case, I'm going to remeasure that. So 1 cup. Yeah, that's only 1.5 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm going to do 1.5. I should have at least 2.5 cups. So use the rest of that package. It's 2 cups. Okay. I think that should be okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit more sugar in that. I know. If you're looking to, I would adjust my sugar with honey. If you want a more of a honey flavor, would be all right, or a low glycemic kind of sweetener, and just go by the package and go by what they say, and then kind of adjust the sugars. This is going to have this beautiful sugar that I found. So, and then let's see, I'm going to have so I have my cinnamon in there. I'm going to put that aside. And then I have my baking soda and my baking powder. And then I have a little bit of orange extract that I might just pour just a little bit. So I already have the vanillas and all that goody. Usually I would just put some vanillas, but I'm not going to do that. So anyways, here we go. I think I need to put just a little bit more sugar in there. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Do I want to put some honey or sugar? No. And you want to get a sugar that's fine for baking. They actually make sugars that are fine baking sugars. I'm just going to pour a little bit more. About another half cup of your regular white sugar. That's okay. I'm sure you can use brown sugar as well. So, okay. So, and then I mentioned, okay, so those are all the ingredients. Now, if you want, make sure your salt, this is important, use iodized salt, okay? Don't use the sea salt or the kosher salt or the iodized salt. I'll make sure you're still recording. So you have to use iodized salt. So I'm going to put this up because I already pre-measured. Also, I have some walnuts, and I want to put walnuts in them. You don't have to. You can also, another thing you could use is you can put in, make sure that you freeze them, some white chocolate chips or chocolate chips if you want. These are frozen because I don't want them to, I want them to stay intact as much as I can. So that's another little trick that you can do. And I may use them and I may not use them. I don't think so. I have the drunken raisins. That's good enough. Now, if I was going to, not use the drunken raisins, and I'd probably go ahead and put, because this is sweet, and that's a sugar. So, and I would go ahead and use the white chocolate chips if I wasn't going to use the drunken raisins, which are my favorite, I think, out of the whole batch of ingredients. So, okay. So, anyways, like I said, you could use the honey if you like, and instead of the butter, you could use, I found a coconut butter, which you could use instead. And then you can offset your butter with other ingredients like Greek yogurt, applesauce, there's oil, cooking oil if you'd like, and the coconut butter is really, really delicious. It's tasty. It tastes like butter, but it's so good. I tried it, and I use it in my oatmeal. Instead of regular butter, I put that in there. And here's some applesauce you could use instead, but you have to adjust the fat with the applesauce. So, and also if you want to go eggless and you want to have that same texture, you might want to consider chia seeds. Now, I think it's 3 tablespoons to 1 tablespoon of chia. You set it, you let it sit there for about 15 minutes until it gets glutinous, and then you have like an egg substance, and that works just as well. Okay? So, here we go. Alrighty. So, I'm going to start by mixing. It's been a while since I baked, so bear with me. I'm going to start by mixing. Okay. It's like riding a bike, right? So, first I'm going to preheat my oven 375 degrees. Make sure you have your lined pans with your parchment and your spray, and this is canola oil, and what you're going to use to measure so that all your cookies come out the same. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my butter and I'm going to put it in my mixer. Okay? Make sure all that butter's in there. Okay. Take my mixer, and then you want to cream it. And that's considered a baking method, is creaming. So you want to cream your butter with your eggs. Now I'm going to take my eggs, okay,